What is up, YouTube? I just finished up another 49-hour week at work, so I'm a little tired, and it has snowed 3 days in a row. So the snow, while it hasn't piled up because it isn't cold enough, it still makes everything wet, and it'll still be at least another week before I can skate, sadly. So I'm going to do 2 videos, potentially back-to-back. I might film another one tomorrow that's different, so they're not basically the same video back-to-back, but we'll have to see how that goes. So today I'm going to be stealing a video from Dextra, but I actually think I've done this in the past. I've done a lot of videos so far, and I don't entirely know if I have, but we're going to do Handboard obstacle overview. So I got a lot of handboards, and I have a decent bit of obstacles. Still a lot more I want. But we're going to go in order, the ones that I had first to the one, like the last one I just got. And we're going to start it right off, right now, with the rail. And I want to say this really quick before we get into the rail. I'm probably going to put music behind this because I believe my girl is rocking out to Destiny Child. You guys might hear it. And she's cleaning so I can hear it, so I don't know if you guys can hear it. So I'm going to put music behind this, and don't worry, I'm going to turn it down. I don't get a lot of comments on videos, so to see 5 people commenting, hey man, your music's too loud, makes me think that I'm probably not going to forget to turn down the music for a while. And I put music behind almost everything. I believe it adds a sense of depth, and I think the video looks better, sounds better. And I always turn the music down, but I guess I forgot one time. Thank God I didn't pick a really loud song. But we're going to start off with my rail. This is the first thing I started handboarding on, besides simple books, things like that. First built obstacle. And this was not built for handboarding. It just was adapted that way. So me and my chickie used to live in an apartment about 3 to 4 blocks from here. And there was always the weirdest stuff thrown out. We're talking like perfect condition dressers, different crazy things. So this bar, there was another bar someone had cut, so 8-foot bar, that was just thrown away. So I grabbed both of them. You know, they actually weren't in the dumpster, they were leaning against the dumpster, and cleaned them up. And I thought, well, if I could make a 4-foot flat bar, I could leave it in my car. That'd be great. And that's what I did. I took this. There is about 10 washers and a set of nuts on the inside here, which I tried to tighten them up because they're becoming loose really badly, and they didn't tighten up. But I don't think they're going to give way because I had to cut the heads of the washer, I had to cut the heads of the bolts off here. So the washer physically can't fully, the nut can't fully come off. So even though it might get really loose and it might be a little annoying, there's no physical way for this to fall apart. So literally that's all it is, if you guys can see here, 2 bolts that run all the way up through, about 10 washers, and a couple nuts. So that's basically the extent of this. I went out and I bought a 1 2x4 and I built it. And it worked great for 50/50s. And one of my favorite tricks to do is 5/0s on smaller things. Hopefully this summer I can do them on bigger things, but this, I 5/0'd it twice. And what happened was, if you put too much pressure, this pops up, and the one end of this is a little jagged from where whoever cut it, and I actually cut my hand twice from it popping up and my hand smacking it. So I put it in the shed. I said, this is a crappy flat bar, I'm not going to skate it anymore. And there's some big gouges in it, you can see where I tried to skate it. But for handboarding, this is perfect. As you guys see, it doesn't fall off. So you can lock in beautifully on this. And it works amazing. So this is my absolute favorite handboard rail. And there's not much more to say about this. So we're going to get into number 2. Alright, so number 2 is my picnic table. And I've gotten, over the past year that I've been showing handboard footage consistently, I've gotten so many compliments on my picnic table. Basically, last year, there's an abandoned warehouse near here where it's fully covered. It was abandoned in the 50s, and you really don't get bothered up there. Me and Corey were going to turn it back. It used to be a DIY skate park, and the police tore out most of it except 1 quarter pipe, which you guys might have seen in my videos before. But me and Corey decided we wanted to put another obstacle up there. At least one. So I found a 6-foot pallet out for junk, and Corey had a $150 gift card to Home Depot that he has never used and he said he would never use. So I said, well, if I get the pallet, do you mind using your gift card to get a sheet of plywood? And me and my chickie, we carried the pallet, the block back through the woods, through all the crap, got it to the buildings. Then me and Corey went the next day to Home Depot and we got a big sheet of plywood. We had them cut it down to size, so there was 2 extra spare pieces. And we built that, we did that. If you guys want to go back in my videos roughly a year ago, you guys can watch me skate the box we made. Which sadly, I believe it was used as firewood a couple months ago by people who go up there. But that's a different time, different story. So this is that plywood. He said, I want you to take these scraps, I have nothing to do with it, you do whatever you want with it. So I said to myself, I want to make another obstacle, but I want it to be like a statement piece. I want people to recognize it immediately. So I thought, what about a picnic table? I don't have a lot of time to build, so I believe I can do this quick. So I just decided, alright, well, handboard trucks are this far apart, so I'm going to put it this length. I think it's 1.5 feet, roughly. And if you guys look, the sides aren't the same. I cut this really quickly, but I've been using this for a while now, and there's quite a bit of screws holding this in. So that's all it is. It's just a handmade picnic table. I looked recently into, if you guys know who Dextra is, he has a Tech Deck handboard picnic table where it's a little bit bigger than this, a little bit lower, and it's made of like a waxy material, like a butter bench is. And I was really interested if I can get one on eBay, something better than this, because this is a lot of fun, but plywood starts to flake and chip after a while. Well, the guy's selling it, I only found one. He wants $150 for it. So this will do for now, definitely. But we're going to go into obstacle number 3, which is the scraps of obstacle 1 and 2. My manual pad, hubba. This is literally just a manual pad hubba. There's nothing more special about it than that. But basically, what this consists of is the plywood that was left, most of the last of the plywood from that box we made, and the 2x4 is left from the rail. So for a while, and you guys can go back on my Instagram, you guys can go watch my video part, I used a Scrabble board game box as my manual pad, because to me, I'd rather have the picnic table for grinds and that, something taller, and have just a box for the manual pad. And I thought to myself, well, I got sponsored by Hangnail. I should look a little bit more professional, so I might as well make a manual pad. But I thought that was a little too basic, like, just to have a manual pad. It's a little silly. So I thought, well, what could I add to it? I said, well, I don't really have access to a welder right now, so I can't put a rail on it. But I have 2x4, so I can put a hubba on it. The issue, though, with that is my tools for carpentry usually consist of some I have and a lot my father has. Because I'm an auto mechanic, I don't have a lot of carpentry tools. So I did my best rendition to get an angle cut, because I don't have like a jigsaw or something that can cut a really good angle. And then I lined it up, and I was hoping that this would touch, and it doesn't. But to strengthen it, I have a straight bracket on both sides that you guys should be able to see, I'm hoping, that holds it in place. Let me tell you, there is, I believe, 6 screws on this side holding it in, 5 screws on the other side, and this isn't going anywhere. So that's literally a piece of plywood, a little bit of 2x4s, and it works beautifully. So I love grinding all the way down, or it's a lot of fun to grind up into a manual. But I'm going to move right along, because I believe we have 3 more obstacles to go through. Obstacle number 4. It is my bank. Kind of. So this was technically the second obstacle I ever made, but not in this way. I bought a shower rod and I bolted it to 2x4s. I actually didn't have a 2x4 long enough, so I actually had to screw it in with a straight bracket. 2 pieces, sadly. But it works perfect. I just started to get annoyed with there's little lips on each side because they're too cheap. This one is $8, and you really don't have much issue grinding coming right out. But it does affect crooks a little bit. If you don't pop it out the right time, you'll get stuck. But they wanted for one that was even on all sides, like 30 bucks. I wasn't willing to spend that at the time. I just wanted a flat bar. But this one, see, it can fall right off, unlike the other one. So it is harder, and I do skate it every now and then. But I set it aside and I didn't use it for like 3 months because I had my other flat bar. So what I did was I had a very small amount of plywood left, and this was the last of the plywood. So I said, well, what if I do a bank? Because what I used to do was I'd get bored and I'd play on the carpet so I wasn't too noisy at night. And I would ride up and I'd do blunt stalls here. So I thought, what if I put plywood up higher? Could I use it as a bank / quarter? And that's exactly what I did. So I cut the plywood in 2 different pieces. As you can tell, I didn't have enough, but I put a taller one and one here. And I love it. It's great. I've done many tricks on this. You can gap to this one and pop in, and it's pretty sturdy. It has quite a bit of screws going through it. I used this for a while, but I don't use it too often anymore because I have to prop it against a wall. And this table, unless I need it, is kind of like my desk in here because this slides. So I tape it down when I want to use it, but I haven't used it in a while. So, brings us to the next obstacle. My heaviest one, I think. So, one of the things I didn't have for a long time was a ledge. But I didn't have any wood. I found a scrap piece of wood I asked my parents if I could have, which is the base of this. And what I did was I just got 2 bricks. My parents have a lot of bricks. And the original goal was to put clay here, if you guys seen that video, and make ramps here. That didn't work out. So I'm hoping in the summer I can scratch off the residue and put a little bank here with concrete, because that would be super, super sick. My goal was to recreate a guy named Dexter's Jersey barrier in the cheapest way possible. So the clay was only $1.50 to $2, but it didn't work. So I'm left with just the ledge. But I love this ledge because it is the perfect size for me to work in here and have it on my table. And if something's loading on my computer or something, I'll just spin around and handboard on this. It makes things so much more difficult because there's the crack here. So I build it up with wax a little bit, but you do get stuck. Baked grinds are a little weird, you can get stuck. But that sense of difficulty makes it better in some different ways, because I was stupid when I made this. Literally, it's liquid nails, a small piece of scrap wood, and 2 bricks. Anybody can make this. The small piece of wood was just in case this glue didn't hold here, that it was glued to the base. So, but I was stupid. What happened was I glued the 2 bricks together and I pressed them. And then I took a board and I set it on top and I glued it down. So, right here, these bricks are perfect. Not a single imperfection in them. But my stupidness was I glued the wood on top of the perfect side. And I was left with a less perfect side. But it adds difficulty, so it's not too bad at all. Which brings me to kind of my final obstacle. I'm going to show a couple things in a real quick segment, but then my final obstacle. Alright, every now and then I come across something that is really like noticeable where I don't have to build it. So one of the, probably the 3rd obstacle I ever got was the Hangnail Handboard's trash can. And people, when I actually had the first ever video showing this, I believe it was on Instagram, people went insane. People actually thought this was a Hangnail Handboard trash can. And literally all this is I bought it at the dollar store. And the thing that actually aggravated me was I looked for this about 2 years ago because I knew they existed. And I looked and I went through roughly 10 stores in 2 days searching. And I couldn't find it. And then a year later, I found it. And I went in my wallet, I said, do I have enough money to buy what I was buying? And this, it was $1. And I bought it. And I got home, and I bought this probably about a day before I got my, no, maybe about a week before I got my first package from Hangnail. So I covered the recycling logo with the sticker, and on this side is a local company, Planchette, that I covered with the sticker. So people actually thought this was sent to me, but literally anybody can, get this. It's really cheap, but I bought it because it has like this really statement, like an amazing thing in skateboarding, skating over trash cans. And I have another trash can that's like the wire wastebasket, but that one looks silly to handboard over. This is like an actual scaled replica, and I love it. But I don't skate over things too often anymore because it's flat ground, it doesn't show too much skill. But the thing I picked up not too long ago was a cone. This is a traffic cone, basically. When I got it, it was blue, bright blue. That was the lightest color they had. So my chickie painted it for me, and before it dried, I skated over it, and I clipped it. And I ripped off some of the orange paint. So this still needs some work. Maybe I'll have it done in the future. But this is the same thing, just a statement piece. You can recognize what this is across the room with me handboarding over it. And that's why I got it, because some people might look and say, is that a picnic table? Oh, is that supposed to be a ledge? But this is BAM! In your face. And I just wanted to mention these real quick. I have a couple other things that I like to handboard over, tech deck over, stuff like that. Now on to the final obstacle that I got asked about the most. Okay, I don't know how well you guys can see me because this thing is a behemoth of an obstacle. Basically, Skater Chan, if you guys can't see the sticker here, is a guy named Chandler, and he started making handboard obstacles at a very reasonable price, even though they seem a little overpriced. But it's not true at all. So he makes quarter pipes for $30 to $50, two different ones, I believe. Don't quote me. And I said to him, I said, hey, at the time my electric bill was through the roof, but I got to talk to them. I'm on a budget. If you guys know what that means, but whatever. Basically, I couldn't afford too much. Bills were killing me. I had enough for bills and food, and that was it. But I said to him, when I have money, I want a quarter pipe from you. I said I lack the tools to make it. That I don't own a jigsaw. I have the knowledge, but no tools. And it was cheaper to buy this off of him than to buy the tools and the materials and use my time to do it. So I said to him one day, I said, hey, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't want a quarter pipe. He's, well, what are you thinking? He said, I want a spine. He's, a spine? I said, yeah, a spine. He said, I can do that. It's just two quarter pipes together. And I said, okay, but I want single coping at the top. One, just to be cheaper, and two, to be a little less weight. Three, that it's a little easier to transfer on a handboard, because with two pipes, it's a little bit more difficult. So I said, I want a spine. He loved the idea, so he drew up plans, and he got this done for me. But I get asked about this all the time. This was recently featured with me in a hangnail post and a tech deck post. If you guys didn't see them, you can go on Instagram and just type in hangnail handboard, well, hangnail HB or tech deck, and you guys can see the post. And almost every comment was, that's a spine, or where do you get a spine? Stuff like that. So this thing is absolutely so much fun. Chandler was talking about making one for himself, and I told him an idea I have, which I know I just said I wanted single coping, but I'm thinking about removing the coping, basically cutting this fully down this line here, so it's two separate pieces, getting another piece of coping, putting a piece of coping on one piece, two piece, putting latches here, so not only can I have a single quarter pipe that doesn't take up this much room, I could also have a mini ramp and a spine. So I'm hoping I can do that in the summer. I believe that would be absolutely amazing, and literally it would be as easy as removing the coping and cutting down, buying a couple latches and another piece of coping. And he told me that this is a conduit pipe, and just go get a conduit pipe. It saves you a lot of money. They work great. So I'm definitely going to think about doing that in the summer. And I have another idea to build. I want to build a fun box that is detachable, so I can have an A-frame, a fun box, and a bump over bar. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I'm going to go through and see how long the video has been. If you guys see handboarding after this, it means the video wasn't too long. But if this video is approaching 14 to 15 minutes, then you guys will see handboarding definitely soon in the future, because it's still winter outside. But as always, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and have a great day.